Welcome to Stage Dive, a podcast where we go deep on the art of live performance to help artists perform better on stage. I am your host, Jack Dawkins. I am a rapper, poet, and storyteller out of Boulder, Colorado. My guest for today on the podcast is Maximiliano Torandel. I hope I pronounced that correctly. He is an aerialist. He is a teacher. He has been engaged in the circus arts for more than 25 years, starting back in his home country of Argentina. This was a really powerful conversation where we got to talk not just about the art of performance itself, but also what it means to be in the business of art. How do you manage yourself? How do you manage your money? How do you navigate the industry? And I think anyone who is getting into performance or thinking about pursuing it more seriously would do very well to listen to this conversation. He's thoughtful, he's insightful, and I just so enjoyed this, and I know you will too. You do so many things. So it's just like part of what I'm curious about, like how they came into your life and what order they sort of happened. And we'll get into
also
all that.
I'm curious to know about how you find me.
Well, we have our ways. we find interesting people.
That's great.
But my first question is, can you tell me about your necklace?
My necklace. Okay. Thank you for asking. I usually shop on thrift stores. I love thrift store shopping. I love the idea of repurpose things. I feel we create so much waste. And I try, to, and also when you go to a thrift store, everything's already curated for you. And I think it's more interesting to find stuff in thrift stores like this necklace, and it's really random. And actually also, but I put it on purpose because I feel like, for example, me as a performer, I always had to portray the masculinity. And lately, I've been discovering I'm very happy to put something that is just embody more of who I am and put something that is just add a little bit of femininity on me. And yes, so that's why it's the necklace here. Thanks for asking.
That's beautiful. I'm going to put a pin in the femininity point because that's something I'd love to talk to you about. Mm-hmm. But when you go thrift shopping, do you have a strategy, or do you like that you just kind of go in not really knowing what you might find?
I do not have a strategy, but I'm really good at it. I don't know why things comes to me. For jewelry, it's great because you find like these items, like they are very affordable, very cheap. And also a person like myself, that we travel a lot for work, when we're on tour and everything, we lose our stuff all the time. So I rather to lose a necklace that it costs $7 than something that it costs me like $100. So also when you go through shopping, if you lose something, it's okay. It wasn't that expensive, so it hurts less.
Yes, it hurts less. I love that frame. That's such a good one. Sorry to move. My internet was going slow, so I'm just gonna.
Oh, no worries.
And you told me you're in Orlando right now, right?
I'm in Orlando. Yes, correct.
Yeah. And what are you doing in Orlando?
So now I'm in creation for a show called Another Rose. It's gonna be with the cruise ship with Version, and it's gonna be cruising in the Mediterranean Sea. It's a dinner show, and I can't wait to be on stage and show that show to the world. Because it's very interesting and it's very different of any shows I've been doing for the last 20 plus years of my career. So the creative team is from New York, and I never worked with a cast as diverse as this one in 25 years.
That's beautiful. That's awesome.
It's very beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
It's very.
And have you worked on cruise ships before?
I started this project back in 2020, January 2020.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then 2 weeks before we had to open, it got shut down because of COVID. And this project got on hold until now. I was doing 2 shows in Las Vegas, and I put those 2 shows on hold, and I came to do this project.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And just because I know a little bit of your history, the shows in Vegas were pretty big.
The shows in Vegas are pretty big. I was working, I don't know if I can throw names on it, but I was doing the
Yeah,
aerial
of
track
course.
at Magic Mike. And then
Hmm.
I was also doing my dual dance trapeze, this new place called Lost Spirits Distillery.
Okay.
It's actually a rum distillery space with the performance, with like immersive performance. So you get your ticket and then you get a punching card. So you do rum testing and you get lost in this beautiful magic venue that they create. It's for me, it's one of the newest and more unique venues in Las Vegas right now. It's
Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah,
absolutely.
they have magic, they have burlesque, they have circus and rum. They have a jazz band. It's really cool space.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I'm tempted to go back to your origin. Like, how does one even start to pursue the? How do you describe yourself as an artist? Because you do so many different things. So how do you sort of self-identify?
Okay, let's start with that. Let's see if I can just. Um, as a kid, um, I feel I'm born an artist. I
Mm.
noticed later on things I couldn't understand at a really young age, but then later on I was like, oh, that's what it was. I used to have a lot of learning disabilities, but it wasn't that I wasn't smart. I think I was very bored. And my brain used to go to
Mm.
all these places during the classes that I just was really bored. And I would like, I always have images and this alternative universe that my brain was going on a class at a really young age. So people would say I was getting very distracted. I was not paying attention. I was like, and I was being bullied a lot because of who I was. And I still didn't know who I was, but I was being bullied. Maybe that was a way for me to escape from the classroom and everything. Um, and then for me to just channel of who I was taking class of like any sport besides football because I hated soccer. Mm-mm. But I was taking class of anything related with arts. I did try to do ballet, but I was too young, and then I tried to do gymnastics, and it was too far. And then the circus was around the corner, so that's where my career started. But at the same
Mm.
time, because all my family was on computer science, I did computer science. I finished computer science and start university for international commerce. But my career as an artist took over, so I left everything and I started working as an artist. Yeah.
Wow. 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 And when you started training with the circus, was it like an immediate fit? Like as soon as you started, you knew that that was what you wanted to do, or did it take time?
Uh, it took a little bit of time and validation. I
Mm.
feel, how should I put it? I was working also as a server. I was waiting tables, and I was really good at it, and I really enjoy it. Um,
Mm.
so for me, that was my full-time job, and on the weekends, I used to perform at the clubs and stuff like that, like freelancing. Sadly, in Argentina, to be able to be a performer and just have one job is really hard. So I was kind of juggling the, be like serving, and then after my night shift, go do my second job. So my career took places in different locations. I went to Mexico on vacation, and while I was there in Mexico City, it was the circus workshop. So I signed up for it. I was like, well, it's great. I'm doing circus, I'm doing aerial, so maybe I can learn some new skills here. So I took the class, and it was a little everything. It was like pantomime, juggling, clowning, and then the last class of the day was aerial, my specialty. So it was a little bit basic for me, and they saw that, And the teacher of the class approached me like, hey, we have an advanced group that we train in the morning. If you want to come join us, because this is a little bit too basic for you. I was like, sure, I would love to. So I came to join that class. And after that, they asked me if I actually can help teach this workshop. So I started teaching there, and then I decided to stay. So I was on vacation, and I stayed for 4 years in Mexico.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's when my career really took off. And the person I
Right.
was training with, she had, because back in the days, we're talking about early 2000s, back in the day, you couldn't learn anything from YouTube or Instagram. You had to travel to be able to learn this craft aerial stuff. You had
Mm.
to travel, and you had to do your own research as well. And this girl and I was working with in Mexico, she actually learned in Europe, and all my background and my knowledge was from South America. So when we got together, it was like a great connection to like sharing our knowledge, how you do the same
Mm.
thing but different ways. Yeah, so it was a perfect match, and then we start creating shows and teaching, and yeah, it was really good.
Mm. So you mentioned like it's different now. You can go on Instagram, you can go on YouTube, you can watch all of these different things. Do you feel like that makes the industry that like how do you feel about that? It's so different from the way that you kind of came up into the
It's
scene.
very different, and I think it's no good or bad. But I always say, okay, maybe you take something, but just put your own self on that. Do your spin on it. Don't just copy something that you
Mm.
see. You can use something as an inspiration, but don't replicate that, the work of somebody
Mm.
else. You just need to. So when I teach a class, I always, show a combo, and then I try to encourage people to create their own material. That's more refreshing, and that's also a way to collaborate and share something new with the craft.
Right. Well, and I imagine like within your body, there's a style of movement that feels very authentic to your body. So if
Correct.
someone tries to do what is authentic to your body in their body and it's not a good fit, it's not going to resonate or register with the audience in the same way.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I'm curious like you've had this great experience teaching and you've had a lot of experience as a performer. Do you have a preference between the two? Do you like having both of them present in your life? Like how do you think about that?
I did teach for very, very long time. Um, I teach in Los Angeles for about 10 years. Uh,
Mm.
so I have a lot of experience on teaching, and also now I do more like big workshops. I teach in Chihuahua, Mexico, once a year. It's this workshop, so everybody from all these different studios in Mexico, they come to Chihuahua, and they do 2 days workshop. And after that, we do like a little competition, and you get the medal stuff. And I love that because I'm not only working with the teacher, with the kids. I also, after I do the workshop, I do a teachers workshop, and I work with the teachers, because sometimes I feel
Mm.
like um, I feel this craft grows so fast, and there is the studios all over the place, but sometimes um, what is missing is like good teachers, or teachers that actually
Mm.
educate themselves more,
Mm.
because all the studios, they need teachers. They need, and sometimes you take classes for a year, and then you become a teacher suddenly. I out of somebody else's class, you pretty much copy somebody else's class, and teach it to, without knowing what was the thought process to put that class together, and why you're teaching the skills. So, I feel
Mm.
sometimes, yeah, when I go to studios or I see two teachers, I see a lot of parts of the information of a structure that is missing. So I love to work with teachers. So for me, that's kind of one of the stuff I enjoy the most. It's quite different, right? Teaching takes a lot of energy. But I think I do show both, but I like right now either teach to teachers or work with professionals just to create a piece. Yeah, for me, just to teach somebody from the ground up, I don't have the time and the energy. I can do it,
Mm,
but yeah, I rather to skip that process because I think there is a lot of
right.
people can do that, and I rather to work on a piece with a professional or just work with the teacher to help them to give them tools to give them a better class. Performing, I love performing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm interested when you say like I want to work with a professional to create a piece. Like, what does that process look like? Because I think having experienced some circus shows, it's like when I'm watching, I'm certainly not thinking about. Like, I wonder what that conversation was like. I'm looking at like they just did a backflip and they just caught the trapeze and they just did all these things, but like I'm sure there is um, maybe not a structure, but there is like a way that you start to build that from scratch. Like I would just love to hear you explain kind of what does it look like when you sit down with someone and say, let's do a new routine.
One of the things I like the most when I work with somebody that has a really good level and is a professional, they can do stuff that I cannot do. So to be able to create a
Mm,
piece with things that, oh, I can't do these elements because I don't have the flexibility or whatever, but this person can do it. So it's like, so it's great because also we have our limits as a performers, but to be able to find somebody else that you can pass that and make them do it is great. The way I start working is like first, I try to create like a little story, right? I want to know first what is this piece for? Who are you trying to audition for, or which show you want to put it on? That's very important, because that will come all together. What's the music? What's going to be the costume? What's going to be the dynamic of the piece? First is like, what's your target audience for this? And then based on that, I need to just do a little bit of research of their skills, and based on that, I start building the choreography.
do you find yourself often taking the leadership role in that design?
Yes, I do. But sometimes I work with other choreographers, and I just love that too. Then
Yeah.
yeah, just give me the piece, let me learn it, and yeah, it can be a little more challenging, but it's great too. But
Mm.
most of the
I,
time, I create the pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense, right? Because sometimes I imagine when you are assigned a piece, the choreographer may have something in mind that you wouldn't have chosen for yourself,
Hmm.
and so you get to expand your perception of like, oh, okay, I wouldn't have approached it that way, but let me try it. Let me see how it feels. Let me see how it fits within the piece, and it goes back to the point on perspective you were explaining earlier. Seeing how other people do things helps you expand as a performer,
Right.
and just have a clear sense. So that makes a lot of sense. I'm feeling silly because I feel like I don't have the vocabulary to ask you like good specific questions. But so now, you know, you've been doing this now for, I think you said 25 years at least. There's a
Mhm.
long, a beautiful career. Like, what are you working on right now? Like, what do you still feel motivated to continue to refine and improve within your own art?
So, that's a really good question. I feel like most part of my career, I used to work on pieces that I know I would able to put on the market because I feel like the entertainment industry is a big market, right? And we are the products, and we need to have the products that the consumers are gonna grab. So this is was very not maybe 100% conscious doing it, but I was doing it, right? A male aerialist is very tricky, right? And more like a male aerialist, like how I define myself. I'm a male aerialist and is has a lot of flexibility, like really good lines. Um, I can pull off that masculinity that the industry always want.
Mm.
Um, but for me to be able to be successful as a male aerialist, also, I think one of the things that helped me the most is to have a female partner to create this male-female romance duet. And I feel like now, towards the end of my career, I try to be more truthful on myself and create pieces that actually I want to create, or the things that I feel is missing in the market.
Mm.
And I feel as a creator, as an artist, we need to show that that exists. So during COVID, I had created different pieces just to do like a video projects uh, that I don't know, never, but I feel like it would be hard to find a show that will add these pieces on. For example, one, it was a romantic duet with two males on a showpiece where I'm the bass and my flyer was a beautiful male contortionist. I feel every time that you see on the stage two males, they had to be strong, right? Very masculine,
Mm.
like power. And I want to show masculinity and softness at the same time. But it doesn't apply for like two females. Two females be intimate with each other is totally okay, but no males.
Mm.
And it's funny because I feel also the entertainment industry, is pretty queer, but the products that we create is not.
Mm.
Um, I don't know. I feel like sometimes the target audience that they think or what the people above they think the audience want to see is the same formula. But I feel now I think we're evolving into something new, something else, and we need to start showing these things
Right.
and change the formula.
Amen. I agree with you. Um, do you experience a lot of pushback when you advocate for those ideas?
I don't feel a pushback, but I no pushback, but oh yes, it's like I can give you different examples. I was working with Jem Breaker, beautiful artist. We did a show at the Lincoln Center in New York.
Mm.
We performed in a space called The Act in Las Vegas. It's like a very unique piece. So she is a beautiful acrobat, aerialist, who born without legs, and she's a performer like anybody else. And I have shared my act with her with so many different companies and stuff. And literally, people when they see the act, they cry. They love it. They
Mm.
say it's great and it's very unique. how many opportunities do you think we had to perform on those shows? And then I also have a partner that is a beautiful Senegalese girl. Is my trapeze partner. I work at Lost Pier Distillery. I had the same act with the Mongolian girl that we were booking the shows with no problem. When my Mongolian girl was no longer available to perform with me, I say, same act. How many acts do you think I booked with her? Finally, this beautiful space give us the opportunity to perform an act. But it just depends who I'm partnering with, the industry open the doors or close the doors. It's not a pushback, but they don't give you a chance. But when they do, the thing is they're wrong. They're very wrong because when we do have the opportunity, these acts are so unique and so beautiful, and people feel represented. So I never got so many compliments performing with these two beautiful partners. It's like, but somebody bad say, I don't think it's the right thing for our brand or for our clientele or whatever, but they're wrong.
It's
Yeah.
yeah. I haven't been an artist I've been an artist for a fraction of the time that you have, and even in my brief time here, the opaque language that people use to say no is offensive. Isn't the right term. It's just so disappointing.
Very
It's like it just feels so lazy. It's just like if you don't like it, or you're uncomfortable with it, or you think it's not going to make money, just say that.
right.
Like, just be honest, so we can have the conversation about why we're not making progress on these things in this country. But they're like, ooh, it's not a good fit, or like something just felt off. It's like, what the fuck are you
I
talking
don't think
about?
she's
Like,
she's the right fit for our demographic. I'm like, what the heck is that? What's your demographic? Yeah. No,
oh
it's ridiculous and it's really sad. And also they're wrong. They're 100% wrong.
yeah.
Yes. People want to see diversity. People want to see new things. I feel sometimes on stage, it's not refreshing. When I see some shows, I don't want to see the name of the companies, but I feel I see the same show with different costumes.
Yeah.
You know, just same shows, different costumes, same acts. And I don't see much of inter my English like mixed race, right? Like different countries working together, you know, in an act. I feel like here's the Russian act, here is the Japanese act, here is the Mongolians, here's like we're all from all over. Why we are not collaborating with each other? Why? Why is not a link here? Why is not? It's not hard. It's very easy, and I proved it. I work with everybody, all races, all colors. Yeah.
I mean, it's the thing that's interesting to me is, I mean, the way you described it, it's like that's how you got better. You had to seek out people from different places because they had a different context, they had different coaches, they had different audiences, they learned and moved differently, and so your exposure to them made you better as an artist. So
and that's the
why
beauty of
wouldn't
the
the
art.
shows reflect that? Right. No, I'm agreeing with you. I think it's so.
I mean, who want to read the same book over and over again? Unless it's great, no? It's like.
So, what am I chasing? What patterns am I tracing with my endless pacing? Facing my demons, screaming, I'm brave, I'm strong, I'm enough, I belong. And the only person who isn't listening is me. Well, like, we don't have to go too deep into this, and if you don't want to, there is art and there is business. They're necessary bedfellows, because if you and I want to make a living doing art, we have to have some element of business thinking present. Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
I think to deny that would be silly. But what I think what happens is that the way business works is you find patterns and you exploit patterns. So we did this, it made money. How do we do it again? How do we repeat success? How do we continue to do the same things? And it can create such an intense resistance to change or newness, because there's risk. You might lose money. The show might not do well.
Right.
And
right.
So I think that there is truth there, but go ahead.
Right. That is true on a financial, maybe business standpoint, but to put that on an art form, then the art form need to keep evolving and changing and mutating, you're just killing it.
Yes.
But let me go back to the business part. I feel like that I think I can just, I feel like also as a performers, we need a better financial literacy. Performers are really bad with money. Where am I right now? I'm in a really comfortable place. That's why I say the beginning of my career, I was doing this. I was doing business. I know what to sell. I know what sells. Right now, because I'm financially more comfortable, I can test risks. I can take a risk. I can just say, okay, I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna take this job. I wanna do this. I don't care if I don't get hired. Just I can be more true of myself. That's something that performers need to do. Educate themselves financially. In this business, your income goes like this and goes like this. It's overly fluctuates. Would be smart for them to figure out a way always to put some money to the side and have some savings, some real estate, or something that maybe not too complicated, or have somebody who can administrate those savings, or so they can be a little more financially stable. So towards the end of their career, in some point, they can have that freedom. And also it happens with shows, with energy, right? Some people are in shows forever because they're dependent on that paycheck, that they're not happy in that shop anymore. And you see on the stage. I want to be on the stage. I want to give you everything I have. I want to enjoy that moment. But that's not the reality for everybody. And that comes from because they depend on that paycheck. So it's something that it has to be taught when you start taking these classes. You start becoming an artist, how to be better with your money. It's very important. So you can have the freedom later.
Right. Yeah, I think it's a great point, and I know you're right, and I feel a sensitivity in me bubble up, because when I look at the landscape, and this is just someone who has some financial comfort and came into this in my mid-30s, right? So I had learned a lot before I got here, which has helped me tremendously. And when I look at people who know they want to be artists from childhood, from high school, from college, that's what they know. It's like where do they turn when you're 22? It's like when I graduated from college and people went into banking and consulting and whatever else, they sit you down and they say, here's how you manage money. Here's how you do these things. We'll set aside part of your paycheck. There are people who support you in that way. And with art, it's like the theater needs to sell out the show, and all they give a fuck about is selling tickets. They don't have time to educate you on money or support you or get you ready for your next role. And I understand that's, through that, artists become resilient and they go through emotional experiences, which is where the art can come from. And there's beauty in that. But it just feels like it always boils down the artist has to figure it out. And it's like, well, why?
Oh, yeah.
Why? Yes. Why can't some of these institutions be more supportive? It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense to me why it has to be zero. Couldn't it
Right.
be some? Maybe you can't fix everyone. Maybe you can't give everyone everything. I totally get that. But
Yeah.
what would it look like to create a softer place to start so that we,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of artists quit. And so, like, as sad as it is to have someone on stage when they're
It's
not
so
passionate, I think
true.
it's
A lot
sadder
of
to have
artists
them
quit. They
sitting
give
in a
up.
fucking bank. They give up. They give up.
They
And
give
like,
up
I don't want
either
them to.
for because they couldn't find the niche where they belong, so where they can sell
Right.
themselves, because also nobody teach you
Yes.
how to be competitive on this industry,
Yes.
or yeah, they run out of money. They can't afford just to be an artist, so they just had to quit. And people with like amazing skills,
Right.
but sometimes
Right.
it's not enough. And something that you were talking about earlier, like bankers and stuff. I feel like also our industry, I haven't seen a raise on our industry in the last 10, 15 years.
Wow.
I'm making the same money I was making 10, 15 years ago. And things are not the same. Things are more
No.
expensive. And the industry, they think they can get away with that. I don't know for how long. Because literally the paychecks for the same jobs I was doing 10 years ago are exactly the same.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah. Well, you
is it what?
certainly need to be good with money. It's like I'm just agreeing with you. I think you do need to be good with money. The question that I have, which I don't think I'm intelligent enough to answer, is like, what would it take to help fully realize the value of art? Because what ends up happening is that 1% of art brings in 99% of revenue. But
Hmm.
like, but the culture of art is what creates the 1%. And so like the larger system also is valuable. Like, this is a weird corollary, but just bear with me. So I spend a lot of time in restaurants,
Uh-huh.
and I can't tell you how many times we heard, it's like, this is too expensive. This isn't what food should cost. It's like, you're right. This is less than food should cost. Do you have any idea what it took to get 97 products into one space and to pay 10 cooks and to have art on the wall and the nice lighting and fucking a beautiful wine list that we keep in a temperature controlled fridge so that it's beautiful? Like, there's so much that goes into making a dinner for someone. So much. And because you can go get fucking Doritos for 8 cents and you can go to McDonald's and get a whole meal for a family for $12, like, I don't disavow that we need to feed people. And so if people can eat that way and have the dignity of going out, I celebrate that. But I wish it didn't come at the expense of seeing the true value in art, in food, in people who want to do things at a high level. And I feel like there's a piece of the conversation that's missing from all this. I hope
But
I'm
the thing
making
is,
sense.
yes, but exactly. So when you put a restaurant like this, where you put your money on the beautiful light fixture or on the ingredients of the food,
Mm,
I feel that's what's happening now with the entertainment industry. Where they put in that money, where that money goes, it goes all on the tech part. And that's not going down, that's going up. You get a better screens,
yes.
better sound system, better lighting, these stages that cost millions of dollars, costumes that I don't know where they come from, but sometimes it's like, what? Um,
Yeah.
and they don't even fit right. They had to do it again. Um, so also the industry is very bad with their money. And they're spending
Mm,
sometimes, I work in this venue that is already closed. Then somebody, of course, somebody who was assisting with the lights, they say you need to buy all this lighting. So they bought so much light, the place was so bright, they bought twice as much as the lighting that they needed. We're talking about like a lot of money.
yeah. Right.
Um, and the sad part, yes, they're spending the money because And it's not fair. They spend all the money in all these props and technical stuff and not on artists.
Right.
That's how I see
Right.
it.
Well, and
You see the shows are like,
no, well,
wow,
and
how much money is spent in this show? This production is amazing. Just look at the paycheck of each artist if it reflects the production value of that show. I guarantee it will not. So those comes from the work of the artist, then they're just getting bottom paycheck, unfortunately, and they're very disposable too, that's another thing, you get
the artists you
injured,
mean
you get hurt, next one,
gone.
and they get them very young, not much experience, doesn't matter, but
Man, well, like, yeah, I think going back to some of the things you were saying previously, like when you were doing the show with your partner, who I think you said she either her legs didn't work or she didn't have legs.
she has no legs. Yeah, she's born without legs.
Right. Okay, thank you for clarifying. But the emotion you were able to elicit, the lights don't matter. Like a little bit. People have to be able to see you. I get it. But like the screens don't matter, the lights don't matter. It's like it's about the human interaction you're having with your partner.
Absolutely.
And people seeing that this beautiful thing is happening. And that is harder to describe, it's harder to sell, but again, its value is extraordinary. And so but people default to what is easier. It's like if we have bigger screens and louder music and brighter lights, it's more sensational, people will pay more money. It makes sense kind of, but again, it's lazy math and it's missing the beauty of what is possible when you actually have two people connecting in such an amazing way. Like
the human interaction, absolutely.
It makes me sad. It makes me sad because I think the world needs more art like that.
I see beautiful shows that literally they have small stage, few spotlights, and that's it. I don't say all the shows have to be like that, but I say if you put like this amazing, spectacular show, also you should pay accordingly.
Agreed. I completely agree.
If you have the budget,
if we
share the budget equally with your team.
Yes. I mean, amen to if we can, I'd love to hear more about your relationship to masculinity and femininity, because it sounds like through your career there has been a demand for you to create or present a masculine energy on stage, either for the show, the audience, for all the sort of factors going. And it sounds like being more in touch with your femininity and presenting that on stage has been an important part of your career kind of later. And you mentioned the necklace. Like, can you just sort of talk about what your relationship is to your it's not quite sexuality, but the different versions of yourself, one more masculine, one more feminine?
Right. I feel like there is not much representation of somebody who can look very masculine but can dress a little more feminine, right? Or have that femininity inside. So I never had problems because performing, because everybody think I'm straight on stage, or the person I'm performing with is my partner, like girlfriend or wife or whatever. They are my partner, my aerial partner, and that's it. that's why I feel that's one of the reasons I never had a problem to perform and play any role on stage. But I see a lot of friends, male friends, that may not be able to portray that character. And because of that, they don't have as much opportunities as I do. And that's very sad. Because skill-wise, they're overqualified to do it. But some people, a little more feminine on stage, or the body type is a little more feminine, and that can interfactor in a faction when you audition stuff. It's just kind of like, and because of that, I was never put a second thought, and then I was like, so recently last year started performing with the queens from RuPaul Drag Race.
Okay.
And it was super fun and everything. It wasn't just because I started working with them. It was a little bit before that, just hanging out with friends and see, how they were dressing. I was like, this is so fun. Why I do not ever allow myself to have fun? I started going to bars and identify myself than I like more and everything. So it's just, it was just like a self-discovering of myself, like just start using crop tops because I had the body can use actually a crop top. Start wearing more jewelry and start, so having more fun with that. But I feel it was some maybe childhood drama plus the industry and everything. So I was always trying to fight that femininity, put it away, and just, but not anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful to see. I love that you're finding more and more of that self-expression. I'm like,
I heard you had a not a great outcome with the dress you bought online.
That like,
but what you buy online sometimes it's not the right fit for your body.
I agree with you.
Maybe that's what it is. What you see online sometimes it's like, oh, you buy it, like, no, you just need to try couple, to see which one fits you perfect.
For sure. I think, I guess, speaking to my own ignorance, right? It's like, for so long, the idea of bringing any feminine energy into the way I dress was crazy, right? Like I would never consider it, which means that when I went to go try it, I had no notion of how to even think about it. Even the idea that like there are so many different versions of femininity. Which one do I want to step into? Which one feels authentic to me? And I'm still figuring that out. I probably will be for a long time. And the good news is like that can be, as you framed it, really fun. It's like, I think at first I was like, oh, I don't want to get this wrong. I don't want, like, whatever the fuck that means. There's this shame around it. And so you're like, ooh, let me be really careful and cautious. But no, like the energy that it needs to come from is joy of expression.
And I was at the beginning very afraid and very careful. And the more I start experimenting and people see it and get compliments, the more I enjoy it and I start getting more and more and more. And it's just try and error, and then you see what fits for you and like, but definitely catch people's eye. And it's fun. It's fun. We need to have fun.
It is.
Yeah.
Of course. Well, and I think the other piece that I didn't totally realize, and again, this is evolving, like if you wear a crop top, if you wear jewelry, if you paint your nails, whatever it is, not everyone is going to like that, which by the way is great. Like not everyone loves art. Like it's okay. I think all art needs to have a specific enough perspective that some people can love it and some people cannot love it. The difference is when the decision you make about how to dress is coming from a place of fear or insecurity and you get that negative gaze, it hurts.
Hmm.
it really hurts because you're like, oh no, like it brings back up the same shame when it comes from a place of joy, and someone's like, I would never do that, or I think you look weird. It's like, great, I don't fucking care.
Right.
Because I love myself and I love my life, and so I don't worry about it. And it's like,
Yes.
I feel like if I could give advice to anyone who is sort of navigating or figuring out how they want to evolve the way that they express themselves, whether through clothing or speech or language or whatever, like make sure it's coming from love, not from a
Yes.
narrative about what it could look like or should look like or how to create shock. Like none of that shit matters. It matters that you love yourself. That's it.
Right. Even that, sometimes I got myself down when I wear something that is maybe a little more feminine. When I'm wearing, I need to be in a safe space because what you say,
Mm,
sometimes people do not like it, and it can be a very uncomfortable situation, unfortunately. So yes,
yeah,
sometimes I just make sure that it's in a safe space.
yeah,
I'm not that comfortable
absolutely.
that I can go everywhere, where I wanted to, because I
Right,
don't want that negative attention, you know,
right.
around me.
Well, and in some ways, like I think we share this experience. Like I can dress in a way or present in a way where no one ever looks at me. Like, I'm just
Right.
a fucking normal white man. Like no one cares. I am completely off the radar.
That's me at the
I
airport,
at
all
first,
black. I just want to just pass
right,
through.
yeah, head to toe. It's like you don't raise any alarm. And I
No,
know that for so many people, no matter where they go, no matter what they wear, no matter how they behave or how they show up, they have to find safe spaces. And
that's true.
man, I just must be so exhausting.
That's
My
true. Yeah.
goodness. Like,
Yeah.
hmm. Oh. So when does the cruise in the Mediterranean start?
May 8th, I think. Yeah. So now we
Okay.
have
Okay.
5 more days here in Orlando, and then we go into Italy to finish creation for 3 more weeks, and then yeah, and then
That's
ready to go.
beautiful.
It's a beautiful story. It's a
Yeah.
love triangle. I would say it's kind of like a
Mm.
Romeo and Juliet, but love triangle story.
Okay. Amazing.
That's
I
really,
love that.
really fun. Really fun.
Um, yeah. And like, do you think that the little boy who walked into this circus training for the first time in Argentina could ever have believed that you'd be flying to Italy for this beautiful piece to go do in the Mediterranean for 3 months?
No, no. I had done things in my career that I never dream of, like working with Cher, working with Taylor Swift, working with Cirque Du Soleil, doing a solo for Cirque Du Soleil. No, like it's way far off of what I ever dreamed from. Yeah, I'm very happy with my career. Yes,
And
and where I'm at.
no, it's amazing. Like I don't know if advice is the right word. I think if you look back, because you've been doing this a long time, what do you think allowed you to have the career that you did? And like honoring, obviously, you've worked incredibly hard. You didn't quit, right? Like those are huge factors. But I'm curious, like
Yeah, to be
if you
resilient
look
is
at
very
your own
important.
experience,
But I think that
yes,
the
yes,
opportunities that people give me, I always very thankful for that. Even from the first person who told me how to climb the silks to the person who
mm,
say come to audition for Cher. It's like all those opportunities. I'm will forever grateful, and you need to take them and use them. I feel also I
mm,
had a career I had because I'm a person who is not lazy. I show up on time and I do my job. It's that simple. You don't need to be the best
mm,
actually in this industry. You just need to show up and do your job, and you're gonna be fine.
yeah,
And just be nice with people. Be able to and be enjoyable to be around you. And don't close any door. Um, always I always had done in the past is like if there is a moment that is a conflict and something happened, or I need to take another contract, or I have some conflict, I try to find a solution. That's something I always recommend to performers. Don't just say, sorry, I can't do this anymore, and you leave. No. When you come with a problem, come with a solution. And then it's up to them to take it or not, right? But that will always help for you. The way that you work and your work ethics matters. So that's very important. I think that's why I'm where I'm at. Not because I'm the best, because I got these amazing opportunities. And I put in work.
And everything you just described, it's it's like, I don't mean to be reductive, but it's like, be someone who other people want to work with. If you're a joy to be with on set because you show up on time, because you have a good attitude, because you connect with other people, it's very easy to ask you back. It's very easy to recommend you for another opportunity. It's very easy to see you in different roles. And like the piece I'm realizing more and more is that, from my limited understanding, really great careers happen when other people can see you in great positions.
Right.
Because that's where opportunity comes from. That's where doors start to open. That's when people start to really value what it is that you do. And
we all know each other.
It's not about being. Yes. Yeah. Ooh, yes.
We all know each other. It's like the industry is not that big. So we all know each other. Yes, a lot of jobs came from referrals. I don't think many jobs few came from auditions, but otherwise it's like handpick. One person to refer to the other one, then you do a great job, and then refer you to the next job. You need to keep a good relationship, good connections.
That's great. If someone wanted to get into circus arts or to be an aerialist, and they're not sure how to start, where to start, what advice would you give them?
I feel right now, if you want to be very competitive in this industry, I would recommend you start taking whatever discipline you want, but not just do that. Just add on, take gymnastics, take ballet, take dance. If you have time, take some singing classes. If you can pick an instrument, it's a great plus. Now I feel the performing arts, they're looking a whole, not just one thing. And then you can be amazing on that thing, but also if you can touch these other elements, you're gonna be ahead of the game with anybody else. So I just educate yourself as much as you can.
That's beautiful advice. Max, this was such a joy. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me and share your experiences. And
I'm so happy I got to share the experience with all of you.
Well, thank you. I'm so jealous that I don't get to go see you on this cruise, but who knows? Never say never. Maybe one day.
But hey, it can be Vegas, so just stay in touch. I will be around for a little bit. And if you don't see me performing, you may see my gallery show. I'm working on this amazing book. I've been doing photography for 10 years, and I'm working on this book that is Flowers. I'm very excited about it. It's been a collaboration with 90 plus artists. I've been working for 4 years. So maybe when I have that product, I will share with you and you can show it somewhere.
I would love that. Thank you again, Max. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Stage Dive. I'm having so much fun having all these conversations and meeting these wonderful, wonderful people. But I appreciate that this is also going out to you, the person who is listening. So my request, my ask, my desire, if you have any curiosities, questions, guest recommendations, suggestions for the podcast, please send us an email at stagedivepodcast@gmail.com. We read every single email that comes through. We will get back to you. And we really do want to hear what you love about the podcast, things that you think could improve, and how we can make this a better show for you. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much.